The Holy Gospel according to St. Matthew, the 16th chapter.
Glory to you, Lord.
From that time on, Jesus began to show his disciples that he must go to Jerusalem and undergo great suffering at the hands of the elders and the chief priests and the scribes, and be killed, and on the third day be raised. And Peter took him aside and began to rebuke him, saying, God forbid it, Lord. This must never happen to you. He turned and said to Peter, Get behind me, Satan. You are a stumbling block to me, for you are setting your mind not on divine things, but on human things. And Jesus told his disciples, If any want to become my followers, let them deny themselves and take up their cross and follow me. For those who want to save their life will lose it, and those who lose their life for my sake will find it. For what will it profit them if they gain the whole world, forfeit their life? Or what will they give in return for their life? For the Son of Man is to come with his angels in the glory of his Father, and then he will repay everyone for what has been done. Truly, I tell you, there are some standing here who will not taste death before they see the Son of Man coming in his kingdom. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, O Christ.
When I was a senior in high school, our symphonic band played the Canadian brass arrangement of Just a Closer Walk with Thee. It's a beautiful piece of music, starting slow and somber as it's traditionally done, as we just did it moments ago. But then it moves into a double-time Dixieland jazz arrangement that starts with the greatest of all things, a trombone solo. Now, what you need to know is that I sat second chair. I was good, but the first chair player was just a bit better when he showed up for class Saturdays, which he didn't always do. So when we were practicing that semester, I occasionally had the chance to play that solo, but I knew the plan all along was for him to do it. Then at the concert, we started playing the piece, and out of the blue, literally about 10 seconds before that solo was to start, he leaned over to me and said, You play it. That was all he said. My mind started racing a bit, but the thing was, I knew that no matter what, I couldn't say no. He wasn't going to play it. And if I didn't, it would be a wonderful period of about 8 bars of silence. Suddenly I began to understand what Jesus was talking about today when he said, Take up your cross and follow me. Because, well, I had to do just that in about 10 seconds. It turns out the plan that I had didn't turn out the way I anticipated. In today's gospel, Peter has a plan. He's just proclaimed Jesus to be the Messiah, the Son of the living God. And he's sure he knows what that means. But then Jesus tells him that he's got a different plan, one that would lead to his own suffering and death. And before we criticize Peter too much, his plan is a pretty reasonable one. In fact, Jesus doesn't criticize Peter because he has a dumb idea, but because it's tempting. It's very tempting for Jesus to follow it. That's literally what a Satan is. An adversary, a tempter. The bottom line, which Jesus knows, is that this plan is all about it. Just like the vengeance that Paul was talking about in that second lesson, it's not ours to worry. So in reality, it frees us up to live, not bound to those things that tempt us or cause us to sin, but it binds us to God and God's love for us. There's a story about Joseph Tom, who was a pastor in a church in Romania while the country was under communist leadership. The authorities hated him because of his preaching. They arrested him and even threatened to kill him. And then Pastor Tom told the arresting officer, "Sir, your supreme weapon is killing. My supreme weapon is dying. Sir, you know my sermons are all over the country on tapes now. If you kill me, they will be sprinkled with my blood. Whoever listens to them after that will say, you'd better listen. This man sealed these words with his own blood. They will speak 10 times louder. So go on. Kill me. Then I will be brought to victory." After thinking about it for a while, the officer sent him home. Later, Pastor Tom wrote, "For years I was a Christian who was cautious because I wanted to survive. I had accepted the restrictions the authorities had put on me because I wanted to live. Now, I wanted to die, and they wouldn't oblige. Now I could do whatever I wanted. For years I wanted to save my life, and I was losing it. Now that I wanted to lose it, I was really winning it." Ironically, knowing that that solo wasn't really mine, and that I had no choice but to play it, made me give it all I had. And if I must say so myself, it sounded better than either of us had ever played it before. The same could be true about our lives as Christians. It's when we realize that our lives aren't really ours to do with as we wish, but we're really